and that these companies are running defense for Sony, that all digital is the way it should be, that there's enough data points to say, yeah, we should just make everybody shift over. Well, that's taking away liberty from the player. Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage. And yeah, I came across this article. There's been a few that have been running kind of like support and defense for PlayStation, and Sony making the decision to go digital only. But some of the articles, just like this one, are unfair. Now, I understand, okay, the future is mostly digital, yes, but I think we need to understand that not everyone wants digital only. We also know, as part of these reasons, is that Sony is not to be trusted. They're currently getting sued by 6 different countries because of their digital monopoly and their pricing and their manipulation for that to make more money than they should. And this is why they want to get rid of physical discs, because the physical disc is the only thing that is showing that their prices are artificially high. And so I think this is why they're doing this, because just the UK alone is probably going to cost Sony $2 billion, which is crazy. And then, yeah, the US wasn't very much. It was a little bit more. But yeah, then there's 4 other countries after that. And anyone else can sue too, going forward. And also, to work around the digital only thing, is that it's not just going to be Sony's store. They're also going to allow redemption cards to come back for retailers for games. So yeah, they're going to work around this, do the loopholes they can so that they can have the manipulation that they want. But let's kind of go through this. This is IGN. New data shows that physical software dollar sales plunged to an all-time low of 85 million in the U.S. That's the worst total since tracking began in 1995. Circana's July video game report reveals that for the year 2026, year-to-date sales of physical software for PlayStation hardware accounted for 30% of total in the U.S. U.S. consumers were spending on new physical games. What happened to 85% or 87% being all digital for PlayStation? Because 32% of U.S. consumers bought physical games. That means 68% bought digital. 68% is different than 87. That's 19% difference. That's pretty substantial. Also, too, they don't share, any of them, honestly, they don't share that roughly 73% of all PlayStation 5s are sold with the disk drive. That's huge. That's a massive amount there. If people wanted to buy the Slim, they would. And it's even more incentivized to buy the Slim, because the disc version, when it launched, well, we had COVID, supply chain issues for multiple years. It was really hard to get one. Same with Xbox. And so the whole point would be, well, let's just buy what's available, which would be the Slims. But that's not what people wanted. People were willing to pay $1,400 for a base PlayStation 5 with the disc. And some of them did. It's crazy. Games made for Nintendo platform made up 63% year-to-date spending for new physical hardware. And Xbox wasn't mentioned. Yeah, and this guy too, man, it's just sad because he enjoys digital only. And again, that is not the issue here. The issue is ownership, and that these companies are running defense for Sony, that all digital is the way it should be, that there's enough data points to say, yeah, we should just make everybody shift over. Well, that's taking away liberty from the player. And with all of the stuff that's happening now, we have CyberLeaks, which has leaked 14 clips now, and wants a physical disc for GTA 6. We also have the blackout that's happening right now, which is not just for a week, but is now indefinite. We also have the petitions that are running around. There's a few of those. And when you add them all together, it's around 400,000 signatures. And then there's all of the lawsuits going down. There's also Stop Killing Games that has been created out of this too, with just the lack of ownership and rights that we have of our digital stuff. And then PlayStation is still making turntables for vinyl records. We are still making CDs. We are still making Blu-rays. We're still making DVDs. We are still even making cassettes, guys. It's crazy. There's still rewritables. There's still rewritable drives. There's still blanks that you can buy and make your own copies for stuff. But no, Sony just wants to unilaterally decide for everybody, and it's for the shareholders. And then Sony has not even commented or made a statement to their customer base, just to shareholders. And the only reason they did that is because shareholders asked. And then Sony has reaffirmed, literally the day before the blackout, with an email to customers saying, yes, you are only buying a license. Yes, you don't own it, basically. Yes, this is what we're doing going forward. Even now, there is a label on the packaging if you buy a PlayStation 5 for the disc version, saying that, well, there will be basically no more discs made or orders available after January of 2028. Like, they are completely tripling down on this, which is insane. Sony's latest financials show 82% of digital download ratio for full game software across PlayStation 4 and 5. Now, this is not necessarily accurate, too, because, well, not all games have a physical copy made. There's a lot of them that are just digital, and PlayStation Plus also helps with that. You're more likely just to download a digital version of a game than actually engage with a physical copy, if there's one at all. So that's very skewed. That's not an accurate representation about how many people care. But when we look at this article, again, these are people that are interested in voting, but this is huge. Almost 90% of almost 67,000 votes is freaking wild. Basically do not want digital-only future. And then, too, in a poor month all around, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was projected as the best-selling game of July in dollar sales, driven by the release of PlayStation ports supporting PlayStation 4 and 5. Black Ops also received PlayStation 4 and 5 port in the month and ranked 5th overall. And then Halo Campaign Evolved was 6th. And the thing that I want to mention here is that, well, Black Ops 1 and 2, they didn't have, again, physical releases. And they were just ports. Again, these were not physical releases for 4 and 5. Now, they were physical releases for PlayStation 3, if you want to go back that far. But again, there was no option. So again, a lot of times when we get these data points, whether it's from Capcom, Square Enix, PlayStation, whoever, okay, they're all sharing, look, our sales digitally are this as a percentage. But that's including the microtransactions, the DLCs, the currencies for a game, okay, like Roblox or Fortnite. It's accounting for all of the games that only have a physical copy. But when we take a look at what's available, Young Ya did a great video. Let's look at it. So this is what I want you to see. Of course, some of these are older games, and I understand that. And the general trend is that there's less sales the newer the game is in physical copies. But when we still look at Ghost of Tsushima, okay, that was a little less than a year ago. And we're still at 51% copies being physical. Like, that should be the wake-up call that we need. And there's a ton of games. Now, we get this information pretty much from the Insomniac leaks, and some of this also, too, is compiled around from information that we do get out of, like, the UK or whatever. But to say that, you know, the physical copies, that they don't matter. And even with GSD data, you know, 60% of Astrobot sales across Europe were physical copies. Again, if the individual cares about the game, they want to own it, which is a good thing. Okay, there's an emotional connection there that you want to have for your customers. But they don't see us as customers, do they? Not even close. It's incredibly frustrating. It's unbelievable. So again, you can be a part of the blackout and let that be what it is, okay, for you. It can be canceling PlayStation Plus. It can be no longer pre-ordering games. It can be no longer buying brand new games at launch MSRP, waiting for discounts. It can be not buying anymore at all, or not buying the first party, or buying less, or completely doing the blackout yourself. I think the whole point for the blackout to be permanent now is to basically just show long term that the numbers go down that Sony looks at. I think that's really the point. So do it in whichever way you wish, but be a part of showing Sony that you want things to change. And yeah, given long enough, they will, and it's happened before. Also, too, I'll make sure to link down below that if you wish to sign the physical or the change.org petition for PlayStation should be keeping discs and stuff, I'll link that down below. But yeah, anything we can do to show, because ultimately the thing is just to walk away. And it's insane how many comments, how many videos, how many posts are all saying that like PlayStation 5 is their last console. Or some are already making the switch if they have the money. And they're just going somewhere else. It's not necessarily to one platform or another, but they just know they're not going to be at Sony anymore. And yeah, this is wild to see. And then too, the pushback with Take-Two. I still think Take-Two, of course, going to make a ton of money, and whatever. But here we go, and let's see if it changes or happens. I honestly don't know what gaming is going to look like at the end of the decade, but boy, could it be very interesting. So with that, folks, we'll see you guys on the next one.